Good Erev Shabbos, everyone. Parshas Vayechi, Shabbos Chazak. We finished the first of the 5 Chumashim, a big milestone, big deal. We finished the Sefer Shemais. We've learned from the beginning of Bereshis creation through Avram Avinu, Yitzchak, Yaakov, the children going down to Mitzrayim, Yosef Tzaddik, and the Sefer finishes with the idea of that the passing of Yaakov and then the passing of Yosef Tzaddik. And like it's brought down in Rashi, and we spoke in years past, that the reason why Vayigash and Vayechi have no separation, like all parshas have a separation between the parshas of the week, is because the eyes of the Jewish people were closed from the Golus that began really to start to intensify layers part, but it started with the passing of Yaakov and Yosef, and we go into next week. Shemos is already the life of the Jewish people in Golus. And you start with ideas of the Yetzias Mitzrayim. So seemingly the end of the Parsha Vayechi is seemingly a parsha that has to do, is a negative, is kind of sad or negative. The end, the beginning of Golus, the end of the story of the fathers, of the Avos, of living with our forefathers. But if you analyze the name, like the Rebbe says, and it's not just the name of the beginning of the parsha, it's the name of the entire parsha up until the end of the parsha, which is the name of Vayechi. And Vayechi means of the life, to be alive. Like we say in Yiddish, m'lעבט, we're alive. And the Rebbe points out in the Sikha we learned today, it's not even called Vayechi Yaakov. That we're talking about the life that Yaakov is alive. Like we say Chai Sarah. But the message is in one word, Vayechi. M'lעבט, we're alive. And this is the message of this week's Parsha. This is the message of this week's Parsha that has to do with everything. The message is not just that we have to be alive, but m'lעבט, we're alive, is not just, it's not even a strategy. Like the Rebbe points out that when we say Min HaMeitzar Karasa Yudke, the idea is that in Mitzrayim, Yaakov was alive. And the Tzemach Tzedek asks the Alter Rebbe, how could you be alive in Mitzrayim? Mitzrayim is Ervas Aretz, the most immoral place. But the idea is that specifically because when you're focused on Vayechi, to be alive, and what does it mean to be alive? Which is to mean to be a Yid. Yehuda, like the Alter Rebbe answers, the Tzemach Tzedek, Yaakov Avinu sends Yehuda down to open a yeshiva. That when, no matter what the situation is, even if the place is called Mitzrayim, which by name, the actual name means limitations, restrain things that are not the way it should be. You feel boxed in. It doesn't have to be Mitzrayim, the actual location. It could be Mitzrayim in a place of plenty. But if your life is in a moment of Mitzrayim, what does it mean to be alive is when you connect to Torah mitzvahs. And the Rebbe even adds to that. It's not just that we're alive when we're in Mitzrayim, in a bad situation, that we fall back. It's a fallback plan to find Torah mitzvahs, to find meaning. If we're looking around and we're struggling to find purpose in our life, so we come Vayechi through Torah. Vayechi is not a strategy to survive. Vayechi is a way of life. That if your way of life is to connect to Torah mitzvahs, if your way of life is to bring Torah mitzvahs down to this world, then by definition you're alive. And then it doesn't make a difference if you're in Mitzrayim, or it doesn't make a difference if you're outside of Mitzrayim, if you're in Chutz La'aretz, or if you're in difficult times, in better times, worse times. You're always alive. There's a consistency. Like it says, Yaakov Avinu lo yimeis, Yaakov doesn't die. Why? Because he's alive with Torah mitzvahs. And that's what it means. What does it mean for the children to be alive through Torah mitzvahs? I wish everyone Chazak, Chazak, be alive. It's a week of life. And we go into Shemais, and this is how we have the Bnei Yisrael get out of Mitzrayim. We have the Geula, when we find life in every situation, notwithstanding Mitzrayim, because we're connected to Chayis with life, which is Torah mitzvahs, and that brings us to the Geula Mitzvah Shlema B'Meir B'Yemeinu Mamash Shabbos.